no intro, we're getting straight into the game recap. So as we knew, the Eagles have a really good run defense. What do the Vikings start off? Play action, and we start off, and it helps when you have Thielen that will dive and catch every ball throwing near him. And then the Vikings do get a little bit of a run game going. We see a lot of Rock Thomas in this game. He comes through early in the game, not so much in the second half. Then the Vikings falter in the end zone. It sets the Vikings up with the Dan Bailey field goal attempt. Wide right. We heard this story before, huh? Then on the Eagles drive, we see the Vikings defense finally look to form. I'll get to who looked very good in this game at the end of the video. But Linval Joseph gets a sack. The Vikings start off on the right foot. And then Cousins, with these quick little throws, run after the catch with Stephon Diggs. So deadly. Forget how elusive Diggs has been. And then another just three-step drop, but this time it was jumped. Maybe went to the well a little bit too often here, but this sets Dan Bailey up with another field goal attempt. He drills it. The Vikings are up by 3. The Eagles go for it on a 3rd and inches. They do a toss, which is such a silly play. A toss not only in the realm of Danielle Hunter, the quickest defensive end in the league probably, Anthony Barr over there too, that's his strength. Nowhere, a loss of a yard. So the Vikings get the ball back, and again, the Vikings are at a 3rd down, and probably the best Treadwell play of the year. The nice second effort to get a 1st down, but it's all for naught as Cousins gets sacked. But it's one of the few sacks in this game where offensive line played very, very well. So this sets the Eagles up, and they have a chance to do something, and they let a bomb go off. And one of the few big plays in this game on the Vikings defense, this was a scenario where Mike Hughes was in good position, but he just didn't play the ball. I don't know if he just got stuck on his back foot. I know it looks like a really bad play in real time, but he just didn't come to the ball. So this sets up the Eagles with a field goal attempt. Elliott drills it. Tied game. So then this sets the Vikings back on offense. And more short passes. We love Diggs. I love this little short pass to Diggs. He makes the whole Eagles DBs miss. He goes up the field for the 1st down. And then a sweep to Diggs. I love how creative DeFilippo was in this first half. He got a little bit more dry in the second half. But when we get these little short pass game going, all of a sudden we can run the ball a little bit, as you saw there. And then play action, deep balls are a thing. Unfortunately, Cousins doesn't kick, and all of them sets up another field goal attempt. Bailey missed another. Vikings fans are going, I think we've been here before. So all of a sudden, the Vikings had a chance to maybe have basically a touchdown game, up 9-3. But now the Eagles have some life, and they are moving a little bit. So the Vikings defense has to make a stand, and it does. Stephen Weatherly gets in a pressure on him, and Wentz fumbles straight in the arms of Linval Joseph. Finally, our defense makes a play. The big man can run. Linval, Adrian Peterson, Joseph, the fastest player on the Vikings team. I love watching the big man run just straight into his arms. I wish I would just give him the interception there. Fumble in the air, basically interception. I don't care if it was a forward pass or not. Weatherly looked good. I would still love more Everson Griffin, but unfortunately we have to wait to see how long it will take for him to come back. But Weatherly's played fine in his absence, but we definitely are needing a little more defensive end depth at the very least. So the Vikings get a third and short, and I love Cousins here. The play wasn't there. Cousins goes the other way. It wasn't there as well. And then he goes back there and just fits it in there. Picks up the 1st down on a 3rd and short. But then he gets sacked. We get pushed back. But one of the worst calls of this game, Michael Bennett gets flagged on a roughing the passer call here, which sets the Vikings up near the goal line. Oh, this was a big one. Not only is it a very, very poor call, but hey, I'll take it. I think the Vikings deserved it. And this sets the Vikings up after a little pass to get the Vikings closer to the goal line with a beautiful touchdown pass. Cousins to Thielen, just a corner out in the end zone. And oh my goodness, this combo both combos, the Diggs or Thielen. But Cousins throwing to Thielen in the end zone looks so good this year. That's been Thielen's Achilles heels as far as his receiving stature goes, is catching balls for touchdowns. He's already got 3, so I like where Thielen's going. He had another huge game today, over 100 yards. So then the Eagles have a chance to they got the ball to start the second half, and they really wanted to score, down by 14. This game could have turned into a blowout, but the Eagles offense kept them in the game. So they were driving in the second half, but then the defense makes another play. A strip by Eric Kendricks and swallowed up by Kendricks for a fumble near the goal line. This is reminiscent of the Rams game last year. A big fumble, and then not only do we get the fumble, the very next play, Cousins deep, Thielen over the top. Thielen wanted to and should have outran the Eagle, but couldn't, got corralled. Still a huge game of 68 yards. Wish he could have got one more yard on it, because 69 would have been nice. But then, again, another strike. This time he goes to his other Ferrari. Stephon Diggs, middle of the field. Another setup at the goal line situation, but the Vikings red zone offense wasn't very good, and they had to settle for another field goal. This one was a very chip shot field goal. Gets maybe a good confidence raiser for Dan Bailey. Retchen really shouldn't need it, but hey, it's good for everybody. You saw Mason Crosby today doing his best Blair Walsh impersonation. So any type of confident builder's good. So maybe not getting a touchdown in the situation was good to set up Dan Bailey with a very, very easy chip shot field goal, because we'll need him later on in the game. So the Eagles now all of a sudden down by 17. They just had a big drive but fumbled right in the red zone, so they had to get something together, and they do. A little short passes to the Vikings D-line was very good today, and Wentz was making plays when he had to. The Vikings let a few options a little bit too open in the middle of the field, covering those deep passes, and Wentz was in the MVP conversation last year for a reason, and he did look very good in the second half, really making some nice throws, reading the Vikings defense, and getting the Eagles back in this game against still a very good Vikings defense. They've been bad in this game, or they've been bad in the season, but talent-wise, still one of the best defenses in the league. So the Wentz driving again, but this is the most like last year's Vikings defense as we had all year, because even though we give up a lot of yards, very much bend but don't break. The Eagles have to settle for another field goal, so they're driving again, and this time they're set up with a Jeffrey. This was just a beautiful catch and throw. You saw Xavier Rhodes on coverage. He was very, very good in this game, and then all of a sudden the Eagles are back into it. Back shoulder fade, reminiscent of Alvin Kamara in the divisional game in the playoff against the Saints, over the top of Kendricks for a touchdown, and then a very interesting call. The Eagles went for 2. They got it. A missed tackle by Sendejo. So we have a ball game, 6-point game, about 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Vikings fans are doing the Linval Joseph oxygen. But luckily we still have Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen and company to get the Vikings in a more offensive rhythm, take some time off the clock. But no, we go to Rock Thomas. It looked like it might have been a forward pass, but as you can see clearly in instant replay, it was backwards, and Thomas dropped it. A big falter on his end. Fumble. Eagles have a big chance, but after a penalty, the Vikings defense holds strong, forcing the Eagles to punt. It looked like for a minute they were going to go for it on a 4th and 20, but they didn't. And then we see Cousins put them away. A blitzing free defender in Cousins' face, and Cousins just goes up there, throws it over his head, completed downfield, and just these play action to Rudolph. This is how much the Vikings trust Cousins. We're trying to run up the clock here, about 6 minutes to go in the game, and we're trusting him with these play action plays with our poor offensive line, still with these play action plays, and we trust him enough to give us the lead. So then the Vikings 20-14, they have to take a 52-yarder, which was, oh my goodness, was absolutely part of my heart as this breaks it to a 9-point game. Basically the game at this point, but the Eagles are trying to make a last-minute effort. The Vikings are in a very prevent defense to end the game, so the Eagles basically march down the field, 15-yard pass after 15-yard pass, and do eventually score. So this sets them up for an onside kick, which dropped by Thielen and... Oh, he caught it again. Alright, so Thielen was just playing. Thielen was just playing. The Vikings ended up winning by just 1 point difference from my final score. You came to the right place for score predictions. Alright, so going to the stats. Cousins was absolutely phenomenal. 30 for 37. Oh, unbelievable. That's the type of completion to attempt ratio you get from Sam Bradford, but half of those are little 3-yard checkdowns. For 301 yards, only 1 touchdown. That's the one thing, if you want to nitpick, that's the one thing we really need to improve on is scoring touchdowns in the red zone. Now, this was against probably still a top 3, maybe top 5, if you want to lowball them a little bit, defense on the Eagles. But still, a very, very good defense. 1 touchdown. We only got sacked 3 times. I think we'll accept 3 sacks in a game. A lot of that was due to Cousins taking a big hit, but getting the ball out of his hands to mostly Kyle Rudolph or Stephon Diggs. So Cousins was phenomenal. Running the ball. This was a game where we could run the ball a little bit. Wasn't anything special, but more than enough that I was satisfied, especially against the best rushing defense in the NFL. Murray had the most attempts, 11 for 42, 3.8. For Murray, against the Eagles, we'll definitely take it. Diggs had his one big run of 25, or as long as 20, he got 25 total. Then Rock Thomas, who got the majority of the first half carries, was 4 for 8. He started out strong, but then fizzled out towards the end of the year. Like the Eagles clamped down on those outside pitch plays, and it didn't work after that. It looked like we had something going, though, on that fumble, but we didn't catch it. And then Boone only had 1 carry. So now that we finally had a game where Rock Thomas had more carries than Mike Boone, I have another question for y'all. Who's better, Boone or Thomas? I think this is an interesting battle that I think we'll see throughout the end of the season. Won't see it as much when Dalvin's all the way healthy, which hopefully comes very soon. So receiving, again, phenomenal. 7 catches for Thielen, 116 yards and a touchdown. Diggs, 10 for 91. Rudy, 5 for 41. And Treadwell, 3 for a very hard-fought 21 yards, only on 4 targets, no drops. Maybe the best game of the year for Treadwell. A very solid game for him. Because you won't see many. You aren't going to get 80 yards out of your number 3 receiver when you got Thielen and Diggs both near 100 yards on the day. That's 200 yards. And Cousins has only 100 more yards to spare on a good day of over 300 yards, right? So I think I will take 21 yards on 3 catches. One of them for a first down. I will take that. Murray had 2 for 14 and change, and a few here and there. So going to the Eagles on offense, Wentz was pretty dang good as well. Wasn't quite Goff good, so he hung in there. He was 24 for 35 for 311 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 sacks for 28 yards. So quarterbacks on the day, very, very even. Cousins' rating of 109.6. where Wentz's rating was 115.3. Very close across the board. The Vikings' run defense was very solid. Jay Ajayi, 8 carries for 29 yards. Smallwood, 3 for 27. He had a few good runs, but that was basically it. Wentz had a few runs, but you can't really count that against them. Quarterback runs aren't really against the run defense. At least I like to say it's more of a containment issue. So overall, I like what our run defense did, holding the Eagles to 81 total yards on the ground. I will take that in a fairly low-scoring game, holding the Eagles to 21 points, only 81 rushing yards. I'll take it. Receiving, who would have guessed? Far and away their best receiver, Zach Ertz, 10 for 110 and a touchdown. You're playing the Eagles. There's one receiver, tight end, that you have to cover, and his name's Zach Ertz. Cover the guy, please. Their next leading receiver is Nelson Aguilar, 9 for 45. Shelton Gibson had the big one for 48. And Alshon Jeffrey, Xavier Rhodes did phenomenal on. 2 for 39. Xavier of the roads finally closed. He looked a lot like that today. I hope this is a trend up for one of my players of the game, Xavier Rhodes, who was absolutely phenomenal today. Doing against one of the better wide receivers in the league. This is a matchup that he should be good in, and he was good in today. And another player that was very good on the Vikings defense, Anthony Barr. Finally, a very quiet, successful day. You saw it on the outside pitch. He did his job, and you never saw him get burnt. You didn't see any missed tackles. Barr maybe wasn't very flashy, but did his job and did his job well. And another option, Danielle Hunter, is just looking like maybe one of the best players in the Vikings defense. I love the idea of Everson Griffin coming back. So then we have 2 elite pass rushers on the outside. I think Weatherly's been fine, but I think, of course, Griffin's way better. So moving down to the Vikings on defense, and leading the day was the, as aforementioned, Anthony Barr. 6 tackles, 5 solo, 1 tackle for a loss, and a quarterback hit. I liked what we saw out of Anthony Barr. I liked what I saw about another one, our third safety, Jaron Curse, who's coming in, being in that 3 safety set, and I think it's his job to lose. I think George Alaka was the big sign, but Jaron Curse is like, nah, I'm trying to be Cam Chancellor over here. You can wait your turn. It's my job to lose, and he's doing very good in that situation. Maybe if we could have used more safeties to cover Ertz a little bit better, but hey, I think our defense did fine holding the Eagles to 21 points, and I think that's basically it. Bailey was kind of off today. You'd like to see a little bit better. 3 for 5. I think we'll take it. I mean, you could be Mason Crosby and be 1 for 5. So yeah, I'll definitely take it. So yeah, there we have it. The Vikings won by 2 in Philly. We play the Cardinals next. Should be an easy W, but we thought that against the Bills, so we'll probably win by 2. But there we have it. Give me your thoughts in the comments. And boy, am I excited. We got the W. Hopefully that clears out some 38-7 memes in Vikings comment sections. I will see you guys in the next Jersey Vikings video. See you guys then.